The small town of Harperville was known for its old legends and eerie tales, but none were as notorious as the ones surrounding the abandoned Harperville Hospital. Decades ago, the hospital had been shut down after a series of inexplicable deaths, all occurring in the same ward. It was said that those who ventured into the cursed ward never returned the same. A paranormal investigation team decided to spend the night in the abandoned hospital, determined to capture evidence of the supernatural. The team consisted of 5 members: Julia, the lead investigator; Mike, the tech expert; Karen, the historian; Dave, the skeptic; and Anna, the psychic. They were well prepared with state-of-the-art equipment and a deep curiosity to uncover the truth. "Are we really doing this?" Dave asked, his skepticism evident even as they stood at the entrance of the hospital. "Yes, we are," Julia replied firmly. "This is our chance to find real evidence. The stories about this place are too compelling to ignore." "Just remember to stay together and keep your cameras rolling," Mike added, checking his equipment one last time. They pushed open the rusted doors and stepped inside, the air heavy with a sense of foreboding. The interior of the hospital was as chilling as its reputation suggested. Broken tiles littered the floor, and the walls were covered in graffiti and decay. The faint smell of mold and mildew permeated the air. They moved through the main lobby, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. "We'll set up our base here," Julia announced, pointing to a room near the entrance. "From here, we can monitor all the cameras and equipment." Mike began setting up the cameras and motion sensors, strategically placing them throughout the hospital. Karen, armed with a flashlight and a notebook, started documenting their surroundings while Anna tried to sense any spiritual presence. "It's so quiet," Anna whispered, her eyes scanning the dark corners. "Too quiet." "That's what makes it exciting," Julia replied, her voice tinged with anticipation. As the team finished their preparations, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. The hospital seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for the night to unfold. With everything in place, the team decided to split up and explore different parts of the hospital. Julia and Anna headed toward the cursed ward, while Mike, Karen, and Dave explored the other areas. The cursed ward was located on the 3rd floor, at the end of a long, narrow hallway. The closer they got, the colder the air seemed to become. Anna shivered, her breath visible in the frigid air. "Do you feel that?" Anna asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Yes," Julia replied, her own breath misting. "It's freezing in here." As they approached the ward, the door creaked open on its own, revealing a dark, foreboding space. Julia and Anna stepped inside, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. The room was filled with old hospital beds, their metal frames rusted and broken. The walls were covered in peeling paint and old, faded medical charts. Suddenly, Anna gasped, clutching her chest. "I can feel them," she said, her voice shaking. "The spirits. They're angry." Julia turned on her camera, capturing the moment. "Tell me what you're feeling, Anna." Anna closed her eyes, focusing on the energy around her. "They were patients here, but something went wrong. They suffered, and now they're trapped. They're trying to tell us something." Meanwhile, Mike, Karen, and Dave were experiencing their own strange occurrences. Mike's equipment began to malfunction, the cameras flickering and the motion sensors going off without any visible cause. "Something's not right," Mike muttered, checking the connections. "These shouldn't be acting up like this." Karen, exploring a different corridor, suddenly heard footsteps behind her. She turned around, but no one was there. "Guys, did you hear that?" she asked through the walkie-talkie. "Hear what?" Dave replied, still skeptical. "Footsteps, right behind me." "Stay together," Mike instructed, his tone serious. "We don't know what we're dealing with yet." Back in the cursed ward, Julia and Anna continued their investigation. As Anna reached out with her psychic abilities, a chilling voice echoed through the room. "Help us!" Julia's camera captured the moment, the voice clear and distinct. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her heart pounding. "Yes," Anna replied, her face pale. "They're trying to communicate." The temperature in the room dropped even further, and a cold breeze swept through, rustling the old medical charts. The air was thick with a sense of dread, as if the spirits were closing in on them. Determined to find answers, Julia and Anna searched the room for any clues about the spirit's suffering. They found an old journal hidden in a drawer, its pages yellowed with age. As Julia read aloud, the horrifying truth began to unfold. The journal belonged to Dr. Edward Reynolds, a doctor who had once worked at the hospital. He detailed a series of experiments conducted on the patients in the cursed ward. These experiments were meant to cure a rare disease, but they went horribly wrong. The patients suffered unimaginable pain, and many died under Dr. Reynolds' care. "He was trying to play God," Julia said, her voice trembling. "These people, they were his guinea pigs." Anna closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. "No wonder they're angry. They want justice." As they read further, they discovered that Dr. Reynolds had attempted to cover up his failures. The hospital administration had been complicit, hiding the truth to avoid scandal. The cursed ward had been sealed off, and the hospital eventually closed, leaving the spirits of the tormented patients trapped within. "We have to find a way to free them," Julia said, her resolve strengthening. "We can't let their suffering continue." Julia and Anna rejoined Mike, Karen, and Dave, sharing what they had discovered. The team decided to hold a seance in the cursed ward, hoping to communicate directly with the spirits and offer them peace. They gathered in a circle, their hands joined as Anna began to chant softly. The room grew colder, and the air seemed to thrum with energy. The spirits made their presence known, their whispers filling the room. "We're here to help," Anna said, her voice calm and steady. "Tell us what we need to do to free you." The spirits responded, their voices a mixture of pain and desperation. "The doctor must be exposed. Our story must be told." Julia, her camera still recording, nodded. "We will tell your story. We will make sure the world knows what happened here." As they continued the seance, the spirits began to calm, the atmosphere in the room shifting from anger to relief. They could feel the grip of the past loosening, the spirits' hold on the hospital weakening. Just as they thought they were making progress, a violent force swept through the room, knocking over equipment and shattering windows. The spirit of Dr. Reynolds appeared, his face twisted in rage. "You will not take them from me," he bellowed, his voice echoing through the halls. The team recoiled in terror as the malevolent spirit advanced. The room seemed to close in around them, the walls pulsating with dark energy. Anna, her voice steady despite her fear, confronted the spirit. "You have no power here anymore. The truth is out, and your hold on these souls is broken." Dr. Reynolds' spirit shrieked in fury, but the power of the team's combined resolve began to push him back. The air crackled with energy as they stood their ground, refusing to let fear take hold. Following Anna's guidance, they performed a cleansing ritual, using sage and salt to purify the space. The spirit of Dr. Reynolds struggled against them, but the power of the ritual was too strong. As the final words of the ritual were spoken, a blinding light filled the room. The spirit of Dr. Reynolds let out one last, anguished cry before dissolving into the light. The oppressive weight in the air lifted, replaced by a sense of peace and release. The spirits of the patients, now free from their torment, expressed their gratitude. The temperature in the room began to rise, and the whispers faded into silence. The team exited the hospital at dawn, their faces etched with both relief and exhaustion. They had faced the unknown and come out the other side, forever changed by the experience. Julia reviewed the footage, knowing they had captured something truly extraordinary. The story of the cursed ward and the suffering of its patients would finally be told. As they packed up their equipment, Mike turned to Julia. "Do you think they found peace?" Julia nodded, her eyes filled with resolve. "I believe they did. And now, it's up to us to make sure their story is heard." The team left Harperville Hospital behind, but the memory of that night would stay with them forever. They had faced true darkness and emerged with a story that would haunt them for the rest of their lives.